I guess just to wrap up, the idea of the summit actually started when Miami-Dade, Monroe, and Palm Beach County and myself were walking the halls in Washington to talk to them about climate change legislation. And it became clear that there are very few local governments walking the halls. There are large other interests, but that there are few that are coming together. What was also clear is talking to the Department of Energy that had just recently done conservation block grants through stimulus dollars, that one gentleman told me that he had 11,000 contracts of $50,000 or less, and that it was costing him more to manage the administration of those contracts than it was to put out the money in the first place, and that one of the things that they were toying with through new climate legislation, which is has now passed the House and Senate committees, and they're finally starting to drill down on a national policy and cap and trade and other issues, and that is that maybe it's easier just to give the money to the states and let them go deal with it. From a local government perspective, we know when the state gets the money, it rarely gets down to local governments, but when we look at all the impacts of climate change, and particularly now adaptation costs, these are things that are borne by local governments. These are decisions made by local governments, and we feel we're best equipped to deal with these changes, but we also recognize that we must come together as a region. We must find models and strategies that really look at the scientific data that's now being generated and start to look at where do we invest, what are the first things we should do. The LIDAR data and mapping processes should not be borne by one county only to be borne in yet another and another and another, that we ought to start pooling our resources. So that was the genesis of the summit, to come together and raise these issues. I'm really pleased to have such fabulous participation by Miami-Dade and Monroe and Palm Beach County. Oh, and it's interesting too, because we always think of the three of us, the biggies in the group, and Monroe's down there waving, saying, "Don't forget about us," and they were very much a part of the creation of the summit, and they are truly feeling a lot of the effects as well. So we have a lot of great expectations for attendance and just elevating the issue, but more importantly, that the four counties commit toward several things. A, that we will meet once a year. This will become a regular event. It won't just be something that we do just this one time. That there are point people who are set in each county that we can deal with, so that we are some have a very well-established task force, some are still fledgling, so that we have different staff. Ultimately, Miami-Dade has already set up an Office of Sustainability. That is the direction Broward County is going, and I know Palm Beach and Monroe will be following too. So once those offices are set and the climate change task force work is done at some point, it will be imperative that we move forward through the next years following that we are still working together, and that's one of the commitments that we'll be making tomorrow as well. So with that, I know we've taken up a lot of time talking to you and haven't left much for questions, but certainly would like to entertain any questions you might have.